Top stories from around the island. To the point. Without the fluff. Puerto Rico headline news. Please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell notification.
Hello and welcome to Puerto Rico Headline News for April 3rd, 2020. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this content. This is your COVID-19 update for Puerto Rico. Along with discussing the numbers for today, we're also going to discuss some information that was released this morning by the Puerto Rico Medical Task Force. And they mentioned how there's only 500 ventilators on hand here in Puerto Rico, but they estimate that they're going to need about 3,000. So in the information that they released this morning, which is toward the end of this video, you'll learn how many they've ordered, when they can expect delivery of those ventilators, and as well as the consequences of not having enough of these much needed equipment. So this is news for today, released from El Nuevo Dia for April 3rd, Friday. The amount of dead has now increased to 15, and there's an additional 62 confirmed cases in Puerto Rico for today. So let's go ahead and get into this article, and it says, a 41-year-old man is so far the youngest person whose life was taken from the coronavirus, COVID-19, in Puerto Rico. This was reported by the health department this morning. The patient was hospitalized in a medical institution in the metropolitan region after being diagnosed with the disease. His death is in addition to that of a 66-year-old and a 60-year-old, both women, which brings the total death toll to 15 so far. Both of these women were admitted to different medical institutions in the metropolitan area where they were confined after testing positive for COVID-19. Their clinical picture deteriorated while in isolation until they died. So here the article continues to mention, on the other hand, 62 new confirmed cases were also reported, making the total number of confirmed cases in Puerto Rico is now at 378. Now, interesting enough, of these additional cases, 19 were obtained in the Department of Health laboratory. 2 came from the Veterans Hospital, and a total of 41 confirmed cases out of the 62 came from private laboratories, where those are being managed through the various municipal efforts are found. Now, as of today, there's 3,486 tests that have been performed, of which 2,049 came back negative, and we're still waiting on the test results of 1,055 tests. So we're waiting on those. Here's the graph, just to get a visual aid on the amount of cases, of confirmed cases that are occurring in Puerto Rico, and we just take a look at the uptrend of the increase of cases so far. Now, the article continues to mention, the number of tests continues to increase substantially, making us obtain better statistical information that offers us greater visibility on the behavior of the coronavirus on the island. With this, we can have a clearer estimate of the effect that the measures adopted by citizens have had and been imposed by the government, said Dr. Lorenzo Gonzalez, the Secretary of Health, in a press release. Now, they're taking additional steps here, and now they're considering sending confirmed cases to hotels. It mentions here the article, an hour before the official health communication arrived, Gonzalez was in a radio interview in which he mentioned that as a measure to contain the contagion, the government is evaluating the isolation of confirmed cases in hotels and inns throughout the island, although he did not give more details on how this process would take place. He also commented that the possibility that people with or without symptoms who arrive at the airport would also be put in isolation, and this was discussed with the governor yesterday, Thursday. So they're trying to figure that out as well. Gonzalez projected, according to the information he has available, that there could be as many as 4,000 infected people in Puerto Rico that do not know that they're infected. So that's still a huge problem. And we see this graph here that shows us the spread of the confirmed cases throughout the island. Once again, the metropolitan area being the one with the higher concentration or a cluster of the majority of the confirmed cases. Now, the Department of Health still does not have any information on 167 of those confirmed cases as of yet, but they're looking to improve on collecting data in the future. The article continues to mention, hence the importance that people keep social distance in their homes. It's important to keep on doing that. He insisted that people are still seen mocking the curfew, putting themselves at risk and exposing their relatives to COVID-19. For this reason, he hinted that their curfew may be extended and be even more strict. So please, again, stay at home. A lot of people are getting arrested. The cars are being impounded for violating the curfew. If this continues, the curfew may be extended and it will be even more strict. So let's try to abide by the rules. Now they're reporting here on a trend that seems to be picking up here in Puerto Rico. And it says here, the secretary stressed that the trend by ages of those infected or the behavior is showing a different pattern or a different trend than that has been seen so far in other places in the world. For example, the young populations here in Puerto Rico between 0 and 9 years old and the age group of 10 to 19, 10% of the total infected population is in these categories, in this younger category. So this data shows that the prevalence of infections is very high within this age group. Between 35 and 40% of those infected find themselves in the ranges of between 40 to 49 years old and 50 to 59. So we're going to cover here what they're trying to probably try to figure out with the hospitals. And the article continues to say, Gonzalez assured that they are working urgently to find the way to make advance payments to hospitals that have lost patient flow and have had to temporarily fire their officials. There are ongoing conversations between the governor, the hospital association, and the fiscal oversight board, among other entities, to find a formula to finance the operation of these health centers, which are essential to address the crisis caused by COVID-19. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the Puerto Rico Medical Task Force released some information regarding the ventilators. So it says here that in Puerto Rico, it would take 3,000 ventilators to be able to handle this emergency, and they only have 500 machines on the island. And Dr. Segundo Rodríguez mentioned, and quoting, that there will be patients who are going to die, and it will be due to the lack of ventilators on the island. So the coordinator of the medical task force, Dr. Segundo Rodríguez, affirmed or confirmed this Friday that the majority of deaths that will be registered on the island because of COVID-19 will be a result of the lack of ventilators to handle the emergency, for which 3,000 would be needed. We know that the patients who are going to die is due to the lack of ventilators. In Puerto Rico, we have about 500 ventilators, Rodriguez said during a broadcast of a special program with members of the Department of Health. He mentioned and emphasized that they require 3,000 ventilators to be able to handle this emergency. So he announced that the government has ordered an additional 500 ventilators, which are on the way, and another 2,500 have been ordered through the Emergency Management Bureau. But he gave no other further details regarding these orders to get these ventilators in the future. And then he's quoted as saying, if at any time we need more than 1,000 ventilators, we are going to support that. We are going to suppose that in one day 3,000 people might get sick. We are going to lose family members, friends on that day. About 1,000 people may die. That is why we want them to stay at home. So he's really pushing this situation. The fact that they don't have enough ventilators here on the island. They only have 500. They have some on the way. They don't know exactly when they're going to get them. But even with the 500 that they ordered, if they do have a total of 1,000 ventilators, people refuse to stay at home to contain or flatten the curve. The medical system will be overwhelmed here in Puerto Rico, and as a result, many people, family, friends, our loved ones will die. So he paints a pretty bad picture. I'm sure he's trying to emphasize or get the point across. Please obey the curfew and stay inside. I released a video yesterday that mentioned how the Puerto Rico Task Force is also encouraging everyone to wear a mask if you decide to go outside for grocery shopping or any other emergency. Please wear a mask. It can even be a homemade mask to be able to contain the spread of the virus. All right, so that was the information for today. Thanks for watching. This is Puerto Rico Headline News.